It's time to play Skyrim again, and it's the perfect time to update your mod list. But what are the best visual mods to use? I'm here to make the most comprehensive graphics overhaul as much as I can, and I'd like to keep the video somewhat short and straight to the point. But before we start, if you would like to go to a specific section of the video, I have the timestamps available, and with that said, let's get into the mods. We will start today's list with the ENB and the Weathers. These are very subjective and it really depends on what you prefer personally, but I'm rocking Picho or Picho. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but this ENB makes my game look super cinematic because truthfully, my main goal is to make the game look better, to have sexy looking videos. In terms of weather mods, I use Azurite Weathers as it works super well in combination with my ENB. And it makes the game look super cinematic and colorful, making everything just pop and look right. And finally, I'm using Ender Dreams Reshade for the added colors and the vibrance. Now you'll notice that throughout the video my reshade will be on and off because I only realized halfway through filming that it was not installed. I'm a fucking idiot. What do you want me to say? Like there's no excuse. But at least for the shots shown now, it's on and it looks amazing. In order to complement the ENB, let's also take a look at some mods that change the lighting in the game for various effects and items. Enhanced lights and effects. You already know what this one does, but I do have to mention it. It simply makes the Skyrim lighting more realistic, removing artificial light sources that makes any scene more dramatic, and it also adds more effects such as smoke when needed. Enhanced volumetric lighting and shadows, or EVLAS, to sync the light and shadow in your game with the sun and moons, making for more immersive and realistic shadows for the exteriors. ENB light, making it so that light sources actually do emit light on other surfaces such as grass, and not only having them glow in the dark. There are many additions to this mod, such as ENB lights for effect shaders, adding lighting effects to certain particles and such, like magic, fire, or others. And there are other mods that add more of this effect, such as Welding Man Smelter with ENB light, potentially becoming a fire hazard, but oh well, it looks cool. Particle lights for ENB ingredients, sprites or specters, standing stones, deathbell and nern roots, and there are probably many others as well. Just keep yourself updated on the Nexus and you'll find what you need. Also consider Ultimate HD fire effects, upgrading the fire with some new textures, meshes, improved smoke, and this affects pretty much all fire in game. Now let's say you have all these mods, you think you're done. Oh no, now if you really want a happy ending, you probably shouldn't be on YouTube, man. There are other places for that shit. But for a similar feeling, I recommend to use ELFX, basically a chef's kiss to your load order. And yes, it also has those really cool Windows shadow effects that people love. It adds so much ambience to all places in game, and holy crap, real life be looking kinda shit right now, not gonna lie. You can also consider the Look series, but ELFX simply works better for my mods in my opinion. Now, do you have a headache yet? That's a lot of mods, right? In a very short amount of time. Imagine me making this video. But we're not even halfway there. Moving on to the textures. It's very nice to have all the lighting mods set up, but if your textures look like PS3 graphics, it really looks like you're running Minecraft with shaders. It's always a very good idea to have a good mod as a base, then adding individual texture mods to overwrite things if you prefer. And in my case, I'm using Skyland All-in-One as the base, and it makes the game look very crisp with a K. When it comes to the buildings of Skyrim, I like to use Noble as it makes everything look cleaner and less roughed up. It was man-made after all, so this mod makes that fact more noticeable. This is a very nice base, but if I'm to ever make a cities overhaul, I would still override the shit out of this mod too. But this video needs to do well in order for that to happen, so leave a like. Clever Charves All-in-One. This particular mod author is loved within the community for making a ton of texture mods that not only make Skyrim look better, but they add a totally different feel to the game. And I'm happy to discover that there's an all-in-one mod that overhauls things such as caves, forts and dungeons, mines, Nordic ruins, as well as major cities. You might want to download them individually if you really want to customize your game more, but for simplicity's sake, I will link the all-in-one mod in my list. Skyrim 3D landscapes, upgrading the land and flora textures and models, while also adding tons of variety. Majestic mountains for a complete mountain rework. Northern ice, making the northern areas of Skyrim pop with an amazing shade of blue and overall improved ice textures and models. Cover woods, going back to the vegetation to clean up the greener areas of the map. It looks very, very clean. It's not for everyone, but I definitely do like having a clean looking game. And more of a bonus, enhanced blood textures, a mod that makes blood splatter glorious. Now if you're really into that, there's no shame here, zero, but I do have a video linked in the description with more gore mods if you really want. It's honestly one of my best works and it's very cool. It does make everything in the game feel more epic. I do recommend watching that after this video. Having some sexy water is also very important. You wouldn't want to have some amazing looking land and then a sea of Gatorade sludge. The main water texture I use is water for ENB, which is actually my preferred choice even to realistic water too. It comes with multiple watercolors, but I really like to use the mineral teal because it looks so clean. You probably heard a lot of Skyrim YouTubers say that, but it's true, it's probably the best looking water ever. Also consider Rally's water foam, adding up to 4K textures for the foam above the water, covering your most private of parts. While textures make item surfaces look good in HD, sometimes their shape itself is really not that good, and this is what the section is about, adding some girth to your, Static Mesh Improvement mod is a must for a next-gen mod pack, and this one in particular touches on ropes, lanterns, and other overlooked items that previously were made from paper. And not just toilet paper, I'm talking about public restroom paper here. Along with the main mod, here are some main mesh mods that you should look out for. TB's better chains for SMIM, making chains even better. Skyrim object SMIMmed, glazed and Nordic pottery, giving plates and other pottery items a better, more rounded shape. Skyrim 3D rocks, giving the rocks feel more like a 2022 Dwayne Johnson and less like a 1996 Dwayne Johnson. And the FYX series that completely changes a lot of meshes, but you really gotta see them to truly understand. So I'm showing you some of the ones that I really enjoy, but do make sure to do your own homework and check out Ural's amazing work on the Nexus. The ones that I use are in the description though. And obviously, here are also mods that not only upgrade the meshes, but also change the style of the items in question. Better chests, completely changing how chests look in the game, giving them a unique model depending on their size. And finally, glorious doors of Skyrim, as I could use for a city's overhaul eventually as well. I wouldn't get into too much detail, but this mod overhauls the fuck out of the Skyrim doors, and it just makes a way better impact than you would think. They say that the future is in the stars. I think, I don't know. So wouldn't you want to put some love and care into it? I'll start with Ethereal Cosmos being our base for the sky overhaul that offers new textures, making the galaxies more colorful, stand out more, and have you star sighting more often, like an anime character. Not to mention the sexy Aurora Borealis that you can see when the skies are clear. Holy crap. Ethereal Clouds is a cloud mod completing the previous, and no, it's not just because the name is very similar. Shh. But it's your main mod that changes the daytime. Clouds look super good and realistic, and what better place to showcase this than the Cloud District itself. Just look at those clouds, man. And when it comes to the moons, I use Skygazer moons. That includes some amazing textures for Master and Segunda, and it also makes them glow. No, I'm not sure this is how they're pronounced, but this is what I'm going with for the video. And no, I'm not gonna look it up, I don't care enough. And you should also consider moons and stars, making the phases of the moon make sense by tracking the location of the sun and having them hit the moon from the right angle. For example, looking at the moon right now, we can see that the sunlight comes from this direction, meaning that the sun is somewhere over there. You get it. Nature and environment are also crucial, as Skyrim is essentially known for having diverse biomes and breathtaking views. So let's look at some mods that amplify that. When it comes to flora, there are a lot of choices, but I would go with Folvanger. an amazing grass and landscape mod, adding original grass to each hold or biome. It's useless to really describe what it does, so you'll just have to really see for yourself. And when it comes to the trees, I use Traverse de Ulvenwald as a base, as it changes most trees on the map, but I mostly have it for the trees around Falkreath and Whiterun, because for other places in the Skyrim, I use Blubbo's mods, because they're built different, man. At the time of this recording, I have 3 of their mods installed, one for the Rift, the Reach, and one for Markarth. These trees add some much needed density and variety to the Rift, making the forest look magical. It's kind of a cringy way to describe it, but you really get the point by looking at it. I mean, there's nothing sexier than this shot of me getting a little peek at Fort Dawnguard, and I'm not even wearing a bikini in this shot. When it comes to the Reach and Markarth, these trees are barren, naked, and falling apart, adding to the cold and harsh atmosphere of the Reach, and making the flora in Skyrim even more diverse. Adding to that, I also have Bent Pines too, for some extra big boy trees all around with this cool model. Immersive foliage trees is also a classic, adding what the name basically suggests, that can also be used when traversing big gaps. And finally, Obsidian Mountain Fog, making the mountainous regions feel higher, as if they're touching the clouds. Oh, yeah, and also we have Better Dynamic Snow, adding snow to structures in snowy areas that for some dumb reason do not have snow in them in vanilla. I'm gonna take a break and get a glass of water. I'll be right back. Unless you're gonna spend your whole playthrough fast traveling and missing out on some really beautiful sights, your roads need to be upgraded as well. And I have just the mods for you. Lux Via is a mod that completely reworks the feel of the roads in the game, focusing on having them lit up and connecting the towns and villages in a more significant way. It adds many points of interest that also contain light sources, making your adventures way more interesting. I also use blended roads, as vanilla has a very rough transition between land and road, and this mod makes it as smooth as that one Criminal Michael Jackson song that everyone went crazy over. That one, the one that asked Annie if she's okay. I hope she's fine. I mean, it's been years, but I hope she's okay. And finally, complementary grass fixes, removing grass from where it doesn't belong, such as on paths, and it also fixes some annoying awkward clipping problems. Now, this video is about graphics, but what are graphics if you're not gonna add some other elements to improve your atmosphere? The Elder Scrolls is known very well for its immersive and extremely interesting lore, and probably one of the most interesting aspects of the lore are the Daedric Princes. This mod overhauls the Daedric shrines in the world of Skyrim, adding to the atmosphere as they're very well designed, somewhat sinister, and they get your attention. If you want to know more, I actually made a video about them right before the all-in-one version came out, so I'll have that linked in the description as well. I also have more flowers near standing stones, making the standing stone locations more magical and interesting. As much as I hate seagulls in real life because they're literally the spawn of Satan, I think it's actually pretty immersive to add them to the world of Skyrim with Seagulls of Skyrim. Just like seagulls, you should also add some spooky flocks of crows to your skies with flying crows. Bugs! Add some bugs around the lights at night with nocturnal mods for the extra realistic atmosphere. GKB waves, adding some waves to coasts, making the Sea of Ghosts breathe and come alive. And finally, a classic, Blowing in the Wind. Even if the name of this mod is pretty sus, no one's really talking about it, but it's sus. It's a classic, and you've probably heard of it before, but what it does is that it makes the signs for businesses around the province blow in the wind. Now, if you're wondering why my signs look so good, well, that's because we're heading into the next section of the video. There are also some very specific texture mods that touch on individual items that you have to download separately. While I would love to show you everything I have, this section alone would be longer than the rest of the video. But I will show off WizKid's signs and specific signs because it's a mod I recently discovered and it's really cool. And finally, Viking style ship sails, that it's an all-time classic, I've reviewed it before. But Christian, you only have 3 mods in this section? Well, mods, yes, but I did want to shout out some mod authors that do focus on some specific textures and models that I think really deserve the recognition. First of all, we got John Skyrim with some really cool HD textures for a lot of specific objects in Skyrim, but also a really good variety of immersion mods to check out. Usually when you have JS in front of the mod name, you know that it's from him. El Sopa with some amazing fantasy looking models that are still really realistic and highly stylized. And W Skeever with a variety of small immersive mods, but also models and textures too. If you want to recognize his work on the Nexus, he uses a very nice design that we're all too familiar with. And this would be it for the video, but before you click off, just give me 30 seconds of your time, please. You may be wondering, what's next? Well, I do have a lot of video ideas right now, but I'm really unsure which one to tackle next. So please let me know in the comments if you'd prefer a cities overhaul, a combat overhaul, or a video about my must-have mods that I simply cannot play without now. I would like to make all 3 of these videos, but they're incredibly hard to make and they do take a long time, so I appreciate if you leave a like on this video and subscribe, just to give me a little bit of motivation to work on these. Not that I don't have enough, but I always like asking for stuff. Now, if you're done, click away. I don't want you here. I'm kidding, stay. I'd also like to thank everyone for all the support that the channel's been getting lately. It's actually been like the most so far on YouTube and it's really appreciated. It's probably the best holidays gift I could ask for. And I want to give a special shout out to Mern, actually. I've talked to him a little bit in the past while my channel was in a very stale state where it didn't feel like it was going anywhere, and he gave me the extra push that I needed to make videos, and I just wanted to thank him like publicly. Just wanted to say that he's not just a great YouTuber, he's also a good guy, so yeah, thank you Mern, thanks a lot. Have some good time off, enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you back in 2023 stronger than ever. I kind of forgot how to end the video. I guess I'm just gonna start editing now. Goodbye! So I loaded up this older game called Skyrim. I started making videos people be admiring. Well, on one hand it gets pretty tough. I can't help to admit that it's some really cool stuff. I get back in the game after I played so many times. I thought it would get boring after committing so many crimes. Did you know the river chicken is considered a person? Now that's a dumb feature that ruins my immersion.